Hello again. This is the Watering Man, Spiritual Toolbox number 415, John chapter 4, recording number 52, audio recording number 732, and examination table number 110. We're going to continue in John chapter 4, verse 13. The King James Version says, Jesus answered and said unto her, Whosoever drinketh of this water shall thirst again. Okay, they're talking about that woman talking to Jesus at the well. Okay, and that's talking about inside of you. You're the woman, you're the Samaritan woman. We are. Each person. And Jesus, the Christ, Yahweh, is salvation. Is sitting at the well of our heart, of our mind, of our thinking process. And He's offering the way, the truth, and the life to channel you through Him. See, through the act of a channel, like through the idea of a channeling, right? You gotta go through Jesus. No other way to the Father except through me. I think the King James says by. It's not right, it's dia. That's through, and through the idea of a channel. Channeling. Okay? Now, the first word is translated as answered in verse 13 of John chapter 4 is 6:11. It's apokrinomai. Okay? It's a verb. It's this word.
Strong's G 611. Apokrinomai. Apokrinomai.
Okay? It's a compound word, and it comes from 575 apo, APO. That means of separation, and krino, which krino is a judgment or a decision. Okay? Now let's see what it says. Apo is of separation, online biblical news, of any kind of separation of one thing from another, by which the union or fellowship of the two is destroyed. Now, that union is just when God breathed His Spirit into this flesh, it became a living soul, okay? The two became one. This ball, okay, this fleshly thinking, this dark matter stuff, dark stuff in there, all them dark pixels, and that seed of Christ. God, the Word of God, the thought processes, God is sharper than any two-edged sword, right? It's piercing asunder that spirit and the soul, right? So it's separation in the storms of our lives. Which way you going? You going with your non-spiritual blackness, or are you going with the Spirit of God? And you got to do it in hot pursuit when you go to the Spirit of God. Flip the script and do all that stuff, right? And God increases. God gives the increase when you qualify with Him, right? That little light shines brighter, brighter, brighter in there, right? Because if you go the other way, it's like taking and starting out. You put that darkness on top. It's a big number, like that 1 with 35 zeros after it, and over top of one little pixel of light, okay? Now, it's taking each thought process, each little ball, if you're thinking, it's dividing it into a 1 with 35 zeros after it. Big. It is really in much detail, okay? Each one of those little pixels is like 1 over 1 to 35. Whoa, it's incredibly small and detailed. God is going out really detailed in every thought process, okay, and getting it out, offering a way to come out. And He's offering to let you be able to change it from that dark thing, kick its butt out, and let it occupy it, possess that land, drive out those former inhabitants, all that dark stuff, and possess it in its place with the light. And it grows from 1 to 2 to 4, right? It exponentially takes over. You got to flip that script, right? Get your mind right. Focus on God. Focus, a child of God. Put that light on the candlestick, on top, on the superior position. And then that bottom, that denominator, the numerator being the light of God, and the denominator being all this darkness, okay? Not the other way. That's what your carnal, non-spiritual mind wants to do and remain king. All right, that's a squatter. That's that false king. Flip it the other way, and the rightful king starts taking his place, rightful place in your mind. One little thought process at a time, and one of those little pixels that starts doubling, double, and when it doubles, remember if that thing doubles like just say 40 times, which I know that's a literal number, right? But and a number 40 is a number of testings and trials, spiritual number, right? It's till God satisfied. But each one of these is doubling at 1 to 2 to 4 to 8. When you do that 40 times, it becomes 1 trillion, a little over 1 trillion. That's still not equal to all the division of all that 1 e to the 35, which 1 trillion is just 1 e to the 12. Okay? But it's growing. We're doubling it every time. Boom, boom, boom. It's a few more times. It's gaining this, growing closer and closer and closer. God's bringing you back to the 1/1 to where you can marry that thing. That chav is the racham, the ability to love God as He first loved you. And that child being the incomplete love, where God's just loving you, and beyond the mere scriptural words, you're gaining the ability to love Him back. And it's growing closer and closer and closer to where it can be that 1/1 marriage supper of the Lamb to where God's one. You were coming back into the pater, back into the parents, the Father's house. Okay, you're coming home to Him. And that's in each and every thought process. Now, this, it's like a fraction. Let's say we'll put 32 on the bottom, make it easier. And then start with a 1. You double and it goes to 2. 2 over 32, that's 1/16, right? And then double that 2 to a 4. 4 over 32, that's 1/8, right? And then double the 4, it comes to 8. Double again, 16. Double it one more time, it becomes 32 over 32, which is back. Reduce that down, it's 1/1, and it goes back into oneness with God. Well, this one thing is 1 e to the 1 with 35 zeros after it. 1 e to the 35. It's 1 times 10 to the 35th power. Okay, so it's 1 with 35 zeros after it. Wow. So 1, that fraction is huge. Even when you put it up there right, you flip the script, you're a baby. Tiny, tiny, tiny. But you're coming back. You're going like in an anabolic state of muscle growth and lifting weights and exercise and stuff. You're growing in an anabolic state of spiritual growth back to God. You're going the right direction. Focus, a child of God, right? As He increases in you, as He keeps bringing these tests and trials, it's growing. It's coming closer and closer to that 1/1. Come back into one with God. You're coming out of this stranger realm, all the way up to a friend realm, and then back into the bride of Christ. You're coming all the way from the seed to brephos, nepios, padion, teknon, weos, and then back to the pater. From an unborn child all the way up, from a seed to an unborn child all the way back up to an adult, and then right back to the Father, back to high priest, back to God. Okay, lots of ways you can say that. It's coming back. Coming out of that hog's pen and coming back to the Father's house. Not to be a slave to that old hog thinking. Yeah, that old darkness. And this is in each and every thought process this is happening. Okay? You're not drinking that Jacob's well water. You're drinking of the living water whenever you're gaining. 1 to 2 to 4 to 8. Okay? Now, in this apokrinomai, in this verse, it's saying, Jesus said unto her, whosoever drinketh of this water shall thirst again. That's that water, that Jacob's well water. Okay, we're going to break this down here. Okay, that Jacob's well water is going to leave you thirsting. That's that darkness. It's not never, you still got the darkness on top of the seed down there. You're burying it in your earthly thinking, your fleshly thinking, or that Jacob's well water. Ew, yuck. Your own tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Same kind of stuff. Your own reasoning, your non-spiritual carnal mind, right? Carnal's non-spiritual. Your own carnal thinking. Don't bury that talent, that seed in your earth. Flip it and start gaining more. Remember there's a parable about talents, right? When it buried it in his earth, he took that from him when he got, man, you're a bad dude. Right, all that stuff. You can read that, look for it yourself. All right. Now, all right. So this soulish thinking is where it's still messed up. All right. You get the fleshly thinking, that manure thinking, and your old, and the Spirit of God, right? The seed of Christ. Flip it right so that things are springing and germinating and come back to life and growing up plants to produce good crops. Okay? Now, the Spirit of God is sharper than any two-edged sword, like in Hebrews chapter 4, verse 12. It's dividing the center of that spirit and the soul in that earthly thinking, that soulish thinking. You want to get rid of that yuck, that double-mindedness. Flip it upright and let him bring you back to oneness. Closer and closer and closer to however much, because it's a long road to get from this 1 over 1 with 35 zeros after it back to its estate to where you can reduce it to a 1 over 1. Wow, that is a long way. But every little bit you gain, it's like, oh my goodness, you're gaining so much gratitude and living out of this spirit, not all the darkness. Stay focused, a child of God. Keep living. It's no longer I that lives, but Christ that lives in me. Take every thought captive to the obedience of Christ. Keep God's right-mindedness. Seek ye first, in time, place, and order of importance, the kingdom, that right to rule in God. Rule in the kingdom of God. It's like a royal hero. He's bringing you back to 1 over 1. Or it's growing. 1, 2 to 4, 8. Up on the top numbers, right? That whole fraction is growing closer and closer and closer back to oneness with God. And that's in each and every thought process in your mind. Remember, we're working in here in the Holy of Holies. Not out here in the outer court or the holy place. Those two are combined into one in the New Testament. It says in the Old Testament is outer court, holy place, and Holy of Holies. New Testament, new promise, is outer court and holy place is combined into one. So it's a holy place and the Holy of Holies. We're not to look outside, exterior. It's interior. It's in your thinking processes. God's working inside of you. In other words, all the way down in that tiniest of tiniest, deep of deep. Right? God's ways, God can do it all. If you don't believe it, you're just you're keeping that darkness up on top. Not disagreeing with me, you're disagreeing with God. Can't help you. Right? Now, so this apokrinomai is this separation. Which way are you separating from? Separating from the light of God, or separating from your old stinking thinking and going into God? Huh? Coming from all that stuff I meta, going towards it into, then coming back in this way in God. You're coming all the way out of that stuff. Going right back to God. See, I've covered that stuff before. I'm not going real deep into it right now, okay? So he's taking you out of that double-mindedness and putting you back in your right mind, okay? So then this appa, it's a separation of. What does it say here? Any kind of separation of one thing from another thing, which the union, that soulish thinking, that mixed up double-mindedness, or fellowship of the two is destroyed. Coming out of that double-mindedness. So you're coming back into Christ. Whenever God's giving increase in you, that's permanent fixtures. Like that living water. This old other stuff's going to leave you thirsting again. That Jacob's well water. Your own natural thinking. Because any rewards it seems to give you is transitory, temporary, and unsatisfactory. It's not permanent. Okay? Turn 180 degree about face from that stuff and come back to God, right? Now, that word apokrinomai is appa, that separation. Okay? Hopefully from that old stinking thinking coming back into God, setting your mind right, and boom, keep focused. Don't look back on that old crap. Turn to a pillar of salt, okay? From appa and krino. Krino is speaking of a judgment or a decision. In the eye of those storms, what you got to do? Got to make a decision. And you got to either decide going up to God's right-mindedness, agreeing with God, or you're agreeing with your own dark thinking. So which way are you putting it? Are you putting the darkness on top on that fraction? It's superior. Your own stinking thinking. Even if it says that's a good thing. It's not a God thing. Right? God's G-O-O or G-O-D, right? Not G-O-O-D, right? That darkness says G-O-O-D, isn't it? No, right? It's a tricky, sneaky snake, right? Kick its butt out, right? You going this way, the darkness on top, or put that darkness on the bottom and put the light of God on top, right? That makes the decision. A judgment. Remember, a judgment can be an acquittal or an adverse sentence. If you're living, existing, you're trusting in your old carnal mind, your old reason, trust in your mind, your carnal mind with all your heart. Wrong way. If you trust in God with all your heart, and not upon your own understanding, and He will direct your path, your course of life, the way you think. Doesn't Jesus, then they say, Jesus, Yahweh's salvation, is the way, the truth, and the life. And the only way to get back to the Father is through Him. Not by. Dia, right? Through the active channel. Right? The only way to go. Right? He's sitting at this Jacob's well of your heart, offering, come on back to me. Come on back to the Father. Yahweh is salvation. Okay, so it's apokrinomai, separation of separation, and that decision. It's not retaliation and revenge. No, remember that revenge. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. No. It's vindication. And it's not this, oh man, you're vindicative. No. It's vindication. He's working to render you innocent. Show you that you're innocent. Come back to God. In the Spirit, that's the fruit of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, long suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, and temperance. Against such there is no law. You're innocent. You don't. The law of love, there is no law. There's no condemnation, no adverse sins. All right. You can read Romans 8:1. All right. There is therefore now no condemnation to those who are in, trusting, resting, relying in God, in Christ Jesus. Right. Not this old, condemn you. Nah. Okay. That's garbage. All right. So it's separation from apo and crino decision. All right. It's an acquittal, not an adverse sentence, not a condemnation. Okay. Condemnation would be like your darkness, putting that on top. Okay. Now, let's see. I got here a judgment, a decision. You're basically green lighting or red lighting God. You're agreeing with God or you're disagreeing. Try not to make a decision, whatever. Okay? All right. Now, in this, if you go back in the Strong's and there's different concordances, that 611 apokrinomon, I went down and showed you the two words it comes from, apo and krino. Apo and krino, okay? It means to conclude for oneself, to respond. In the eye of a storm of one's life, one must make a decision to green light or red light God's righteousness. God, when he's given his argument, giving forth his case, God's given his case. He's giving forth an explanation. This is why you do it. Huh? And then they bring the intensity up there to help you. Change. Not to beat you down and to torment you. No. Cause you to give up on that. Chewing up that old, all that horse crap. Your old humanistic strings. Your nature. Beast nature. And swallowing that bull crap. Be reasonable. See it my way, says God. Come on back here. I'll kill the fatted calf. And we'll have a great party for you. A great celebration. Go the other way and you spiral down. Alright? We want to be spiraling up. Alright? Now, hope that explained that. That kind of got a little jumbled in my talking, but that's okay. Try to get it out. Alright. Now, answered the first word. That's an apokrinomon. Then they got ha. It's not even translated, but that's the mind of. The ball of thinking of your mind, okay? And it says, oh, Jesus, or Jesus, okay? And Jesus, 24:24, Jesus, I-E-S-O-U-S, and it means Yahweh of salvation. Right now, Y-H-W-H, not Jehovah, right? Elongate, putting it in the past and future. No, we didn't discuss this, okay? So, answer Jesus. It's answer to respond to separate and make a decision. In this ball thinking like Jesus. Yahweh is salvation. Okay? Now the next word is and. That's at Kai, 25:32. Okay? It's just, I'll have to pronounce it.
Strong's G, 2532. Kai.
It's both copulative and accumulative. It's accumulating these increases into God. Or if you're disagreeing, it's accumulating, you're falling down your shitter, right? And accumulated, or copulated. You're falling back into union with God, or you're falling away to your disagreement, to where you can't see the truth. Don't let it make you to old wineskin to where you can't receive the new wine then. and then it just burst a bubble. Put that light on top and let it accumulate, let it copulate. Bring you back into the end, and that's why you got closer and closer and closer, 1 to 2 to 4 to 8. Remember when it's coming all the way back up there, and it become basically it's telling you it's coming on back to God to where it's 1 over 1. Reduce that fraction down to where it's becoming God is 1. You're 1 with God. But you got a long way to go. Because even when you flip it up there, it's 1 over 1 with 35 zeros after. Takes a lot of testing and trials to bring you up there. But you're gaining. You're gaining strength in God. You're feeding from that living water. Or from the tree of life. Not this old dark way, which is Jacob's well water, or the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. That fruit from that tree. Yuck, it's basically your own stinking thinking. Don't eat from that filthy mistress stinking rags. My righteousness is as filthy mistress stinking rags, right? Isaiah 64:6, right? That old heart of man, that old stinking thinking of mankind is desperately wicked and evil above all things. It's a thief, a robber. It comes only to steal, to kill, and destroy. It wants to steal that life of God out of you. It wants to remain king of your heart. It wants to stay on top, the darkness up on top, and keep that seed buried down in that earth, insignificant. It wants to dominate you. All right. Now, next words is it's ipon. They translate it as said. It's 2036. This word.
Strong's G 2036. Ipon.
Okay. Now, this is basically, it's EIPON. It's basically it's to speak in a definite past tense. Okay. Now, the next word, it says unto her. Okay. And this is Jesus the Christ is speaking. Unto her, unto you, me, and it's where? It's this word right here.
Strong's G 846. Autos.
Right? That's he, she, or it. That's that ball thinking in your mind, whether you're a he, she, or an it. And it's all in here where God's doing it. And it comes from air, that 109, AER. It's through the idea of a baffling wind. God's wanting to bring you from this lower Adamic way of thinking, this red beast nature stuff, up to his higher, superior way of thinking. And not let you remain down. But you got to choose him. You got to flip the script. When the storms of your life and that tornado, that whirlwind, you can't just stay the same. Well, I'll wait till I'm about ready to die, and then I'll say, Lord, forgive me. It don't work. You're not going to be able to go, nah, God's not mocked. Mankind will reap what they sow. Sow to the flesh, you reap destruction. Sow to the spirit, you reap the life of the ages, right? All right. Now, let's see here. Let me read that from the top. So Jesus answered and said unto her, okay, now we're going to this. Whosoever drinketh of this water shall thirst again. Now, we're down to that whosoever. It's not whosoever. It's pos. 3956. It's an adjective. This word. About to run out of time. Whoops. Pushed the wrong button.
Strong's G 3956.
Pos. Okay. It's each, every, all, any, the whole, everyone, anything. It's all or the whole. It doesn't leave nobody out. All, not whosoever, all. And then 3588, the mind of, the drinks this, the mind, the thinking processes, that ball thinking process. I don't keep touching it wrong. Touching that thing. That drinketh. Okay? I think Pino, Pino, 4095.
Strong's G 4095.
Pino, right?
Pino.
Let me get to this real quick. It's right there. It's a verb, and it's to receive into the soul, that mixed up double-minded stuff, what serves to refresh, strengthen, nourish it unto life eternal. So if you're receiving that darkness thinking and thinking that's going to change the way you think, it ain't going to do crap for you. You got to receive the light of God, that living water, to really get the increase. All right. So, whosoever all that drinks of this water shall thirst again. That's at Jacob's well water. Now, let's get to it. I'm about to run out of time. I'm going to put a line there and I'll continue there later, okay? Bye-bye.